This is the most audacious diamond heist ever, and the cunning thieves made it look easy. The big diamond heist in Dresden, 2019, 1.1 billion euros.
Reports are these jewels, this treasure was worth €1 billion.
You've never heard of it, have you? Excellent. I thought it was a story no one knew. Have a good day. This is the story of the greatest diamond heist ever. The crown jewels of Saxony were stolen. Diamonds, silver, golds, emeralds, sapphires and rubies with an estimated total value of over €1 billion. This is that extraordinary story. You're going to love the setup for this. Dresden Castle, a gargantuan, gorgeous German Renaissance masterpiece. It's a royal palace. Inside is the Green Vault, the largest collection of treasure in Europe. Augustus the Strong built the Green Vault not only to keep his loot safe, but to show it off. It's the oldest museum in the world, and the vault is impregnable. 24-hour security, cameras, alarms, motion sensors. Right next to the Green Vault is one of the world's largest armories. The museum director boasts it's more secure than Fort Knox. This is the most audacious diamond heist ever, and the cunning thieves made it look easy. So how did they do it? Well, one small firebomb, two very small thieves, a lookout, a getaway driver, cutting equipment, a couple of cars, a fire extinguisher, 2 axes, a roll of masking tape, some black paint. That's it. That's all they needed. But most of all, they had to be quick. So, here's the museum, here's the Augustus Bridge, and here's the police station. At 4:50 on Monday, 25th of November 2019, the gang used a crude homemade firebomb to set fire to the small electricity junction box sitting at the foot of the bridge. It's not a big fire, the police came, they didn't think much of it. But it's just enough to put out the street lights, and crucially, it kills all the power to the museum. The museum's alarm system is old, no backup power, no one knows the system's been disabled. There are big iron grills all over the ground floor windows. They're old, but they're tough. A week earlier, the thieves cut a neat triangle out of the grill covering a corner of the window. They picked that window because it was just out of sight of the surveillance cameras. They pried open the bars and then taped it all back together again and painted it with masking tape. They played music to drown out the noise of the pneumatic cutting equipment. Cutting the bars took seconds. On the night of the heist, all they had to do was cut the tape, smash the small window and climb in. Not a big gap, the thieves are small. Now the CCTV does have backup power, so the whole caper's caught on camera. 2 security guards sat and watched the heist on the monitors. I did say, it was audacious. This was meticulously planned, and the thieves knew exactly where they were going. They squeezed through the window, entered the Hall of Treasures. They rushed through there into the heraldry room, and then straight to the jewellery room, where the museum's most valuable pieces are on display. 2 thieves wearing hoodies, scarves and baseball caps smash display cabinets with an axe and grab everything they can. The police station is 3 minutes away, so they gotta be quick, and they are. It's all over in 35 seconds. They violently hack away at the display case, hitting the reinforced glass at least 56 times. They take 37 pieces from 3 display sets. They stuff a sack with the precious haul and set off foam fire extinguishers to cover their DNA. Then they leave the same way they came in, through that little window. There are security guards inside, and they did basically nothing. 2 of the security officers watched the whole thing live on CCTV and then called the police. To be fair, that's the job. They were not expected to tackle the robbers. Their job was to call the cops. Security reported it to the police at 4:56. The police dispatch a car at 4:59, and the car arrives at the museum at 5:04. Roadblocks are put in place. The city is locked down, but the crooks by that time have long gone. The 4 thieves jumped into a resprayed silver Audi A6 on stolen plates and drove it just 2.8 miles to an underground car. At 10 minutes past 5 in the morning, they set fire to the car and swap into a Mercedes. It's all of 10 minutes to get onto the Autobahn. As they made off, the fire spread to 60 cars in the garage, causing £500,000 worth of damage and diverting attention away from the getaway. The bad guys must have been delighted. It went like clockwork, and the haul was unprecedented. So what did they take? Well, it's quite a list. A 547 carat sapphire, once owned by Tsar Peter I of Russia. The 62 carat white diamond of Dresden, the centerpiece of a shoulder knot ornament surrounded by 19 large diamonds and 216 gemstones. The diamond of Dresden is worth about 10 million euros all by itself. The King of Poland's diamond-encrusted Order of the White Eagle, a 20-carat diamond at its centre, and a Maltese cross made of rubies. A diamond hat clasp comprising 15 large diamonds and more than 100 small ones. The largest is a 16-carat diamond. The list goes on and on. A diamond epaulet, a brooch worn by Queen Amelie with 666 gems. But for me, the most spectacular piece is a unique silver and gold sword. On the hilt, it's got 9 large and 770 smaller diamonds. That sword alone is worth a cool 100 million euros. In total, the gang have taken 4,300 diamonds, emeralds, sapphires and rubies. One estimate values it all at 1.1 billion euros. But really, the haul is priceless. But if you pull it all apart, take away its historical significance and just melt down the gold and prize out the diamonds, it comes to around 113 million euros. However you value it, it's the biggest museum heist in history. The police needed results and quick. There was political pressure and TV news crews from around the world asking the very same questions. And there were very few clues. At first, there was no DNA and no fingerprints. The CCTV didn't help much at all. Without any obvious leads, the police tried to blame the security staff. When that didn't work, they offered a €500,000 reward for any information that led to an arrest. A Dutch art dealer approached the police saying he could get the King of Poland's diamond-encrusted Order of the White Eagle back. The police paid him €40,000 and he vanished. The police were looking stupid, but one thing was clear. The people who did this were smart, organised and disciplined. But the answer was obvious. You see, in Germany there's a few organised crime gangs, but there's only one big crime family who like to rob museums, and that's the Remmo-Clan. The Remo gang has, 500, 1,000 members? They arrived in Berlin in the 80s, having fled war-torn Lebanon. Murder, violence, drug trafficking, money laundering, fraud. You know, proper gangster stuff. Oh, and the gang have an eye for jewellery, and they love a bit of high-profile mayhem. In March 2017, 2 years before the Dresden heist, the Remo gang stole a 24-carat gold coin weighing 100 kilos from the Bode Museum in Berlin. Security video of that theft shows 3 men wearing hoodies, scarves and baseball caps breaking in through a window and smashing a glass case with an axe. It didn't take a genius to work out the 2 jobs were connected. That Mercedes getaway car was found a few months later, burned out. The forensic team eventually found DNA at the crime scene and on the 2 burned out cars. Quite impressive. On Tuesday, November 17th, 2020, around 1,500 police officers raided 18 properties in Berlin. 3 men were arrested. Cousins Wissam, Rabbi and Bashir Remo, and the twins Mohammed Remo and Abdul Remo, they were arrested in December. In August 2021, Ahmed Remo was arrested. Now, both Ahmed and Wizzo had already been found guilty for the theft of that $4 million big maple leaf coin. They were appealing their sentences. They weren't in prison. They were in court, but they were not in custody. In fact, only 2 days after the Dresden heist, Wissam Remo was arrested for stealing a pneumatic cutting tool from a factory. He was driving to court in his car. They found balaclavas, gloves, crowbars, and that pneumatic cutting tool. The police guessed both of them were involved in the Dresden diamond heist. It was a pretty good guess. Now, look, the police were under a lot of pressure. The Remo boys had taken part in the Dresden diamond heist while appealing their convictions for the big maple leaf robbery. The big maple leaf coin was never recovered, and that was embarrassing. Losing a massive slice of Saxon history, though, that was unbearable, untenable, and unthinkable. Politicians and police were shining a very bright light on the Remmo-Clan. There was a deal to be done. Return the treasures and get lighter sentences. 5 of the Remmo lads coughed. In December 22, 31 items from the heist were recovered from a river. Much of it was rusty and broken and incomplete. The damage was estimated at around 24 million euros. That diamond-encrusted sword was recovered and repaired, but the white diamond of Dresden, that's gone. Queen Amelie's brooch is lost forever, probably broken up and sold. On May the 16th, 2023, all 5 men were convicted after pleading guilty to aggravated theft and arson. Bashir Remmo was 26. In court, he said it'd been quite an adventure. It all happened a bit spontaneously. All he did was stand in front of the window and act as the lookout. Rabbi Remmo was 29. He admitted in court that he'd been the one who'd broken into the museum. He says he's the one with the flashlight on the CCTV. He said the guy he went in with was younger than him. Under the terms of the plea deal, he didn't have to name his accomplice or anyone else. Wissam Remmo was 26. He said that after stealing the big maple leaf coin, he was on a high. He was a celebrity, a big-brained criminal mastermind. He'd planned the whole thing. One of the twins, Abdul Majid Remmo, said he'd been the one to cut the iron bars. Bless him. He apologised to the court, saying it had all been a big mistake and he was turning over a new leaf. He also said he was a little bit surprised no one noticed him using pneumatic power tools to cut through the iron bars covering the windows of probably the greatest treasure trove on earth, like it's the museum's fault for making it too easy. Ahmed Remmo had an alibi and he was found not guilty. The other 5 got sentences ranging from 4 to 6 years. For the big maple leaf coin, Ahmed and Wazim Remmo only got 4 years each. Short sentences compared to England and the USA, but the truth is that most European countries just don't do long prison terms for acquisitive crimes. Setting fire to the cars was a serious matter though. There was a woman in that underground garage. She wasn't hurt, but arson with reckless intent has a maximum sentence in Germany of 15 years. The court was told around 40 people were involved in the heist, from the planning to the execution, the driving and the fencing of the goods. Only 5 went to prison. So that's it then. Case closed. 5 men in prison. Most of the jewels recovered. Police saved the day. Politicians are happy. But hang on. Something about this isn't right. Something about this is nagging me. The thief had to be small enough to get through a 1-foot window. But take a look again at that picture of Rabbi Remmo. Look at that girl in the mask. She'd fit. Not Rabbi. He's a lump, not a pint-sized pilferer. Do you know, honestly, I've read all those confessions and none of them are convincing. The 5 boys in court, well, they were a bit dim, really. Not master criminal masterminds. Because of the deal the prosecution did to get the diamonds back, we'll probably never know what really happened. But because this is the most famous gang of gangsters in Germany, I think we can have a pretty good guess. The Remmo gang is run by Isa Remmo. His organised crime syndicate stole the treasures of Saxony worth over $1 billion. They only gave back 31 of the 37 pieces. Sure, they gave up 5 foot soldiers, but 2 of them were already doing time and 3 of them were linked by DNA. It's only a few years in prison. Look at it this way. The vast majority of those involved got away with it, and what they got away with was about 18.1 million euros. Not bad for 13 minutes work. It's about the same length as this video, but I don't want your millions. I just want you to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. That's it. Done. Thank you. Bye-bye.